What's going on, everyone? iLootGames here with another video, but this one's a little different. This is the first episode of my weekly podcast, and this one is featuring my co-host, SoaR Kobi. We're going to interview him and get his opinion on a lot of different things going on in the game right now, his opinion on aim assist, SBMM, what he thinks about Season 6 and what's coming, and much more. This is my first episode, so I would love your feedback down below. And if you have suggestions for guests that should come on next, definitely leave a comment down below and let me know. I plan to do this weekly on Twitch so that you can actually participate, ask questions for myself or the guest, and we will answer them at the end of the stream. A special thank you to ALG Renegade for the amazing donations while we were live streaming this. If you want to partake in the next one, twitch.tv/iLootGames. And if you want to go check out Kobi, all of his links are down below. He's an amazing guy, and I highly suggest you go follow him. But without further ado, let's jump into the podcast. So, obviously, you guys have heard of SoaR Kobi, but in case anyone hasn't, Kobi, would you like to tell me about yourself along with the SoaR organization before we jump into the Apex topic?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so hello for everyone that doesn't know who I am. SoaR Kobi is what I go by. SoaR obviously being the organization that I am currently the talent manager for. I pretty much upload very often on YouTube, and that's where I kind of see myself at, and then I stream on the side as well. Also taking care of the SoaR roster behind the scenes for the Apex Legends side of things, and just taking everything kind of one step at a time. And that's pretty much where I'm at. That's what I do. Just like making content. I like playing Apex Legends, as I'm sure most of you guys are as well. So nice to meet you guys. What's up? What's up?
And what other games have you done content for? Did you start with Apex or no?
So I actually started back in Call of Duty, as a lot of people did back in probably 2011, 2012. I was heavily inspired by one of the montages, Optic Predator's Predator montage, going on to FaZe Pomage's, when he was still on FaZe at the time, his Catalyst 1. Both of those two montages kind of inspired me to create content via sniping and everything like that as well. And that's kind of where I had the idea that I wanted to, use a sniper in these certain Call of Duty games and kind of just have your own style to it. I always like the fact of how unique you could be with a sniper in a video game like that. Like once you see it in a perspective like that back in the day, it kind of flipped the whole perspective of playing Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. And I really liked what people were doing in FaZe, Obey, SoaR, Era, all those teams, Dare as well, back in 2011, 2012. And that heavily inspired me to create content on Call of Duty. So that's kind of where I started. I always like when I'm playing right now, Halo. That is the first shooter that I actually started playing on the original Xbox. It was the original Halo, and then up into Halo 2, 3, Reach, everything like that. And content-wise, after Call of Duty for about 5 or 6 years, hopping between being a trick shotter and a sniper in all those Call of Duty games, getting a little bit of publicity on the FaZe channels when they used to host their top 5 plays of the week. I was featured in a few of those, which kind of kickstarted my channel for a couple thousand subscribers, which was huge at the time. I was on FaZe Reign's Top 5, episode 51. I'll never forget that. And FaZe Apex Top 5, episode 22. Those are still left on YouTube. You could even go and watch them. That, like I said, kind of kickstarted my YouTube. So I started uploading montages, cut comms, and everything like that. And after, 4 or 5 years of making these Call of Duty related videos, I went back and started creating content on old school RuneScape, which is another game that I played when I was really young. And they brought a game mode that was called Hardcore Ironman, where pretty much you have one life in the game and everything you have to get it by yourself. No trading, no nothing involved. And I started that series at about 7,000 subscribers. It lasted about a year and a half. I got up to a high rank in some of the skills. I believe I was top 100 for that mode. And I ended up dying on the account a year and a half into it, closing my channel off at about 15,000 subscribers. And in between a year gap after the RuneScape and Apex scene, I was uploading random Fortnite videos and Call of Duty Black Ops 4 videos. And they were doing pretty terrible. So I kind of just stopped doing YouTube. I then, I got into music, producing, writing, mixing, mastering, all of it. And some of that is still left on my channel as well. Not many people know that, but all the things that I talk about in this, I leave them up for public, even though they're kind of embarrassing sometimes. You can go back and look at like where the steps of my life kind of went towards. So, I mean, that's kind of the glimpse of up until where I got into Apex Legends. I mean, most people know how that went for me. I played the game. Well, I guess I'll give a little bit of backstory. Personal life, really bad. Had one job working at Walmart. I was living in a trailer with my mom, and I was saving up a bunch of money to try to get a house and everything like that. And I ended up getting robbed. My house was robbed while I was out of town for all the money that I had in my safe saving up, which is about $10,000. So I had to sell all of my equipment, everything I owned, all the music equipment, all my headphones, all my gaming equipment, and I started from scratch. And I bought a PS4 for $200 on Facebook Marketplace. This is about 1 week before Apex came out. I was playing Fortnite with some friends of mine. They both stream as well. And they were like, yo, let's play Apex Legends. Let's download it, test it out. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I liked it because the Prowler reminded me of the AR on Halo.
Oh,
how
yeah.
it has the numbers on it. That's what heavily got me influenced into Apex. I was like, this is like a Halo Battle Royale. And I was like, this is sick. So I tried it. I really enjoyed it. And pretty much everybody knows the story from there. A week later, I ended up dropping 30 kills solo, world record, held that for about 3 days. That video was being promoted on news sites and everything like that, and brought some traction to my videos. And I told one of my best friends, Tim, I told him, I was like, listen, if this video does 100,000 views, I will upload every single day Apex Legends content for the rest of my life. And it hit it, and that's kind of just what happened. I mean, we can get into like the whole SoaR stuff in a little bit, but that's kind of my origin, what I've done in the past, you know, all my hobbies, every direction that I've taken on my channel, and where I got to where I'm at today, I guess.
Wow, that's really cool. So basically, Apex changed your life, and it's made your YouTube blow up, and now you're so known in the Apex world. But the question for you now is, so you said that you would make Apex videos for the rest of your life. Now, does that look possible still?
I mean, that was more of just like you know, something to just push me to continue doing that. As we all know in the gaming community, even you can relate as well. Any content creator out there, it doesn't matter if you're pulling 1 viewer, 5 or 1,000. The game that you like will not last forever. It's just one of the stresses that come with the quote unquote job or career path that you want to take. There's going to be a lot of road bumps. You're going to run into very hard moments, which is kind of where a lot of us content creators are at right now with Apex Legends. I obviously don't see any game lasting forever. Apex, I could probably give it about 2 years until it's. Now, when I say that, I mean, I see games in a different view. I will play the game until it is literally 6 feet under the ground and irrelevant. So I give Apex a solid 2 years until I'm talking, you go from pulling 100,000 views a day across your channel to like 10,000. Yeah. So I do see it lasting for 2 years. Yes, we've had a lot of bumps in the road. And I mean, as long as they keep trying their hardest to get this content put out as soon as possible, I see it being good. I mean, we all know how good the game really should have been, but they unfortunately just don't have the team to back it up right now, especially with everything going on in the world, which I hope everyone is staying safe during these times.
Yeah, so working from home is obviously hard, especially on a smaller organization like Respawn. Well, one of the big questions that I've got that everyone's been asking about, and it's a big topic now that we're gonna have crossplay coming, and especially with all these tournaments when we're seeing like Team Aim Assist win, and we're seeing like Yeet Squad win. You know, we have the controller players. What are your thoughts as a controller player and one of the top controller players, and you still play on console all the time? What are your thoughts about Aim Assist?
I've said this in multiple streams, multiple videos. For the people that are scared because I've seen a lot of comments on everyone's channels. Pretty much just people are scared of the cross plat that's going to be coming out in fall. Now, fall again is somewhere around, I think, September 20th to December 21st. I'm probably couple days off on that, but for this cross plat that's coming out, the best thing I can say for people that are going to be playing on console against PC, there's nothing you guys should worry about. Aim assist, and as much as people won't like the fact I say this, aim assist is a lot stronger on console. You can ask anybody going from me, Zeus, Jenks, Finicky, any one of us that constantly go back from console and PC. The aim assist on console is really, really, really strong. And I feel like people are scared that M and K will have that advantage over them. But I can promise you, within a week of cross-plat being out, the pro players are going to cause such a huge scene about the aim assist and how strong it is that it will get nerfed.
And that's actually some of the things that people were bringing up to me is, do you think that aim assist will get nerfed? Especially we've seen controller teams winning these pro tournaments. Is that really something that you think is going to come down the pipeline?
When I say like it's going to get nerfed, I mean console to PC. For PC, I personally think that the aim assist is fine where it's at right now. I mean, for someone, like I said, I'm not the best player. I've put probably 1,000 hours on PC and 4,000 on PS4. On PC, I've noticed the things that the mouse and key pro players hate the most is when you're using an R99 against them, because yes, you will have an advantage, especially up close.
Yeah.
But when it comes to medium and long range, I mean, it's literally just up to just skill at that point, because I mean, it's a certain point where people can't really blame it on aim assist. Say you're using a G7 scout from about 150 meters away, you're not locking onto that person. You're not. Aim assist is not a thing at such range. So especially in these scrims and these tournaments where a lot of people are using Hemlock, single fire, G7 scout, Prowler, everything like that. Well, pretty much the Hemlock and G7, those don't really have aim assist at a certain range. I mean, yeah, maybe like 50 meters, but
the fire rate is too slow for it to really
have an effect. It's more of just in travel distance, the velocity of the bullets. Like it's really just up to skill at that point. I guess, like I said, I'm friends with a lot of pro players in the community, and I know they all hate it, but it's gonna cause World War III when cross-plat comes out, because people on the pro scene is going to throw a fit that it's going to get nerfed on console pretty quick. And I know people are iffy because they can move while looting. You're not going to have the frame rate as them.
Right.
That aim assist is going to help you a lot. Trust me. It's going to help a lot. And you want to rock that. Rock that with pride. Don't be scared just because there's some toxicity in the community when they just say, you know, controller player. You just got to push that to the side and just focus on yourself. Whatever grind you're doing, whether it's kill grind, whether it's consistency, like just be yourself and just don't let all the other toxicity in the community affect what you want to do. You know, that's my biggest tip.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with what you said with the aim assist. Obviously, up close, the R99 is just so deadly in a controller player's hand. But I don't believe that it's like some kind of god mode or, you know, like an aimbot. I don't agree with that at all. I think it's pretty fair. It's very near balance, like you said. We're not seeing like controller players just wreck every tournament in the pro tournaments. So I don't think there's something that's sticking out. That would be the case if aim assist was too strong, in my opinion. One thing that I did notice, though, that was really interesting is in this last tournament that TSM won the week for. TSM, Imperial Hal and Aberlily, is that how you say his name?
Aberlily, yep, Mac.
Yeah, they both switched to controller for that tournament, and they ended up winning that tournament. Now, they're very high-level skilled keyboard and mouse, obviously, some of the highest skilled level, but then they were able to win the tournament with controller. What are your thoughts on that one?
I see it like this. Hal's obviously admitted he's played controller in the past for about 10 years of his life. So I feel like something like that, it's kind of like riding a bike or riding a skateboard. For anybody out there that skates frequently and took a break for a couple of years and came back, it's all muscle memory at that point. And especially with TSM being one of the most intelligent IQ when it comes to comp play, it doesn't matter what input you're on. You're gonna have that mentality of winning, when to rotate, the moves to make. It doesn't matter what input, what weapons you have, anything like that. It's definitely gonna be up to the mind. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's honestly, it doesn't matter at input at that point because, like I said, you could be running a Hemlock Prowler. You don't have many options to choose, especially on these King Canyons ranked games and like competitive games that we used to have. You don't have much time to loot like they used to take over Fragment and have the entire fragments in themselves and get to choose what guns they have. In Kings Canyon, you don't really have an option. So you might be walking out with a Hemlock in a Mozambique, and you kind of just have to rock with it. So I guess, long story short, to answer your question, it doesn't really matter what input, in my opinion, at least what I see as a viewer.
Mhm.
It's all about the plays that you make in the game, the situation you're in, and how you portray it. Because you can have them play on M and K and play terrible on controller, or they're gonna pop off on M and K or pop off on controller. I mean, it's a RNG battle royale. There is a lot of skill to it, but there's also a lot of luck involved with end game circles,
Mhm.
rotations, and people that want to land on you and grief your game. So TSM is definitely a very, very smart team. A lot of people that just view um, tournaments and stuff, they don't really understand the whole arguing, how Howl and Mac and all of them argue back and forth.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is that's what makes TSM who they are, because you have to
100%
have
agree.
communication, even if you're yelling at them. If you know that person needs to make that play right now, you will scream until
Yeah.
they understand you have to make that play. So, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, they yell at each other too much, they bicker back and forth. It's like, that's what you do to win. I mean,
Mhm.
consistency, it's the truth. You've seen it.
Well, I mean, anyone who's played any kind of high level sports, whether it was in college or in high school, you know the competitive people on your team. They are very vocal. They're very intense, and that's what makes them good competitors. And when we do watch parties,
Absolutely.
we always have people saying stuff about how Hal he's always snapping on them and stuff like that. But I'm like, Hal wants to win so bad. He's so competitive. He's so focused on winning. He's just in a very intense mode because he wants to win so bad. And it's a beautiful thing, I think. I've talked to Hal about it. I think that it's awesome to see that they're willing to leave their comms open and let you hear them yell at each other, because really get to see exactly what's going on inside the huddle. And so I love watching them, to be honest with you.
Me as well. I mean, it's truth, and you see the consistency in it. I know, like I said, it sounds terrible as a viewer, someone who's like first time checking out a tournament. That's what you hear, but you got to understand, a lot of the teams that do bad in those tournaments will have a bad game and won't say a word. Their comms will
Hmm.
be super quiet. Their energy's down. They're just upset. But no matter what situation they're in, they could lose. Like, we've seen it two times. I believe it happened in the super regionals just the other day, super regionals two, where Aim Assist ended up taking first place.
Hmm.
TSM was actually in 19th and 20th place,
Yep.
had five really bad games. And in that sixth game, they still had the same communication they had in the first five games. It's just they had better rotations and everything like that. It played their part a little bit better. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you have to keep that same energy no matter what happens. I've been in tournaments, and I can tell you, the second I die the first two games and we are not looking too good, the whole team energy is downhill and your
Mhm.
gameplay will go downhill. And that's why they're so strong when it comes to competitive like tournaments, because it doesn't matter if they have a bad game, they're going to have the same comms every game.
Yeah. And and one more thing about the aim assist that I want to point out is because
Mhm.
the only thing that we've really seen is we've seen Hal switch over to controller and obviously do good, but like you said, he has a background in controller. But we also saw Nicewig switch from controller to keyboard and mouse, and he was
Mhm.
learning it for the first time, and he went all the way to Predator in one season. So
Yep.
it just shows you that it's possible to go both ways. Now, I think just like you said, a lot of it's a game sense, and he
Yep.
knows his positioning. He knows what to do. He has the right people around him. He has a good team who's vocal, and he takes position correctly when he engages in fights. And so it just shows that it can go both ways, guys. It's not like it's just the mouse and keyboard person who can go over controller, and because of aim assist, he's able to, dominate in tournaments. That's not the case. It can go both ways. So that's just to back up
Absolutely.
what you had to say about that. Um,
And
before we get into the topics about Apex, I just real quick. I mean, SoaR is an organization that everyone wants to be a part of. You see people all the time in games; they have SoaR in their name, and they have, obviously they're not even part of SoaR. And then you see people's Twitters, and that's their goal, is to be part of SoaR. So,
Absolutely.
if you're, I would love to get your insight into what it takes to get into SoaR, what it took for you to get into SoaR, and what you guys are trying to bring into the future.
Yeah. So pretty much SoaR is a family. It started out as a friend group where I was friends with this guy. His name was SoaR Revex. Justin is what he goes by. He's been a huge Call of Duty sniper since SoaR has always been a thing. And he noticed the world record that I dropped, and he followed me on Twitter. And a couple of months go by, we became close friends. I started playing with him a lot, and he was like, "Listen, we want you to be in SoaR as a content creator." And they ended up picking me off the first RC that they dropped. RC meaning recruitment challenge. I'll get into that in a little bit. And so I ended up joining SoaR as a content creator in May 22nd of 2019. It was my birthday, and I turned 21 and joined SoaR the same day. So it was a phenomenal day. If you, like I said back earlier, if you go back on my channel, you will see that I went for SoaR recruitment challenges multiple times, all the way back into 2015 as a trick shotter.
Wow.
And even before then as well. So I've obviously known what SoaR was for a long time. I mean, especially in the OG Call of Duty days, I was one of the top tier orgs. I mean, you have some huge idols in my life, like FaZe Banks, who used to run SoaR and be in the same organization that I'm in right now. You also have FaZe Adapt, another person who I watched a lot back in the Call of Duty days. He was in SoaR as well. We're looking at FaZe Rug, one of the biggest content creators for YouTube right now when it comes to just vlogs and challenges. All these people originated in SoaR many, many years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so I ended up getting the talent manager role around September. And I got that specifically because I was like, hey, I know every single creator in this community, and I'm friends with all of them. I never have bad blood unless you really give me a horrible reason to just not like you. I will never call you out or block you or anything like that. I will just, avoid myself from the situation, as should anybody when it comes to just interesting situations. But so I ended up getting talent manager. Like I said, I wanted to start this as a family. So I ended up picking up Daltouche, Jenks, and Finicky all at the same time. All three of them got recruited at the same time. We got them in a bunch. And, Daltouche is one of the biggest streamers for Apex Legends. So phenomenal personality. A lot of people see him as his streaming persona, and they think he's, a little bit, too much sometimes. But deep down inside, he has a very good heart, and it's just a persona at the end of the day. Just like, a lot of other streamers like Dr. Disrespect, etc. Everyone's got their streamer persona, and he might seem a little extra sometimes, but deep down he is a good guy. We're also, Jenks, one of the biggest YouTubers for Apex Legends, and Finicky, very, very nice person, super generous. And he's one of those people where I like to bring up an example when people are like, oh, you really have to have a really big channel to get into SoaR. We picked up Finicky at an average of 6 viewers on Twitch and about 700 subscribers on YouTube. It does not matter your size. If you really show that you are different and that you have what it takes, you just need that little hump to get over it and get that initial growth. It does not matter. And I've always tried to explain that as much as I can, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves, or how people are like, you can only get into these organizations if you're a big player. And it's like, no, if you're doing something that nobody else has done, I promise you will find huge success. And I'm not even talking just in Apex, anything in general in life. If you're doing something that other people aren't, you have more likely skill, and like you're more likely to have people notice you and respect you for that decision. Like, you have all the people grinding rank 1 in Preds, number 1 kill grinds. Like, those are such a common thing. That's why you don't really see too much growth out of it anymore like you used to.
Yeah.
You just really want to stand out and be something that nobody else is, while also being yourself and really putting in the effort to learn these programs that you have to use. That's another thing I'd recommend, being strictly independent. You want to learn how to edit yourself. You want to learn how to render, make thumbnails. Learning that yourself is going to make you a better content creator in the end of the day. Whether whether you're going for something specific or just something broad in the community, learning all those things will help you become a better content creator because you're going to be aware of all the things that you have to do. You're going to take those responsibilities and you're going to really put them into action and see how it goes. So, like I said, size does not matter when you're going for any organization. It all just depends on how different you are. Like if someone were to watch your content, they better not be able to relate it to others. You don't want to be like, oh, Kobi makes videos like Jenks. Jenks makes videos like Ratchet. Like you want to be like, oh, that's his videos. So, I mean, like that's pretty much it. Then of course we picked up SoaR Johnny, we picked up Cujo, we picked up Drainola, Spooky, Chicken, and that's where we're at right now. I know a lot of people do remember Cujo. He was recently released and he is going off to do story mode games on his channel. He just was not enjoying Apex Legends, and he's probably one of the best players in my eyes when it comes to strategy and stuff. So, I mean, it just goes to show that Apex really needs to try to push content as much as they can because they lost one of a phenomenal player months ago to just not, he just wasn't enjoying it. There's no incentive to grind.
Yeah. And then that's a big thing that we see right now. Like for myself, I took it's like a month and a half off just about, and we talked about it. When you get burned out, it's so hard to get yourself going in these doing a video. You know how much editing a video takes, coming up with ideas, and then it's so much easier at the beginning when you just love the game. But as you start to fall out of love with the game, it's definitely much more difficult. What is it that you think that Apex is doing wrong right now?
I wouldn't say they're doing anything wrong, and we also have to put into perspective that a majority of the things. I mean, we don't know anything like on the inside or behind the scenes. We don't know too much, but I would assume that a majority of the things that Respawn would like to do would have to get accepted by EA. And as we all know, EA is an interesting company, and they are probably not too fond to accept things unless it's going to help benefit them financially. So, what I would like to see in Apex, obviously, and one of the devs just tweeted back at me 2 days ago about this streamer mode. That is a huge thing that affects us players. And I know there's a lot of people out there that say, yes, we have streamer mode. We do, but unfortunately, it is the opposite of what streamer mode should be. We want to be anonymous in the kill feed and in the champion screen, everything involved. We want to be anonymous. What our current streamer mode does is make it so the 59 people in the game are anonymous, but you aren't to them. They still know who you are. So, and this affects people like Jenks and me pretty heavily on console. It happens on PC a little bit, but not too much. On console, people will play different. They will, because they're fans, and we respect our fans. We really do, but it messes with the content extremely. So when you think of it like this, you have little Timmy sees that he's in, back off my Jenks and SoaR Kobi's game. He's going to go over there and drop all of his loot and just teabag instead of fighting us. And then you got the sweats that are 3-stacking in a public match, but there's nothing wrong about that. If you're just chilling with some friends, there's nothing wrong with 3-stacking. But if you're taking it serious to the point where it's like platinum ranked lobbies, and you and your two friends are like, oh my God, that's Jenks and Kobi. We need to play different. We need to pull up on a third party, and we just need to play extremely sweaty. While me and Jenks, on the other hand, are playing with a Mozambique triple take for a challenge video. Like, it makes it really tough for us to do certain content because there's always people in the game that want to be seen. They want that attention. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. We respect it, but it's really tough to make content sometimes when it's every game. And I have proof of literally many videos that happening, and especially the highest amount of spectators I've ever had was on console when I was playing with Jenks and Chicken about 2 months ago. We had, and I am not kidding you, 36 spectators with 12 kills across.
Oh my god.
So we had 36 people watching us in the game, and that blew my mind. I'm like, wow. That's a key reason why we need streamer mode, because those 36 people know who we are, obviously, and I don't mean that in a egotistical way. I'm just saying they obviously know who we are, so they're watching us, and the game is played completely different from a content creator perspective to a casual,
Yeah.
and it's just really tough. So streamer mode's definitely one of the things. Personally, I would like custom lobbies. I know they're in the process of making it, and I know the process behind the scenes of why we're not getting it. I don't
Mhm.
know if I can publicly say it, but it makes sense. I understand, but this is something we should have had 6 months ago, because there's a lot of ideas that we could have had in custom lobbies, and who knows, we could have been able to build certain buildings on a custom blank land, and make mini games out of it. And there are endless possibilities with that. I would also like to see some limited modes, not recycled ones. I mean,
Yeah.
there's millions of ideas out there for limited modes. I'm talking wingman only, peacekeeper only, mastiff only, R9 only, light guns only, jetpack, like a jetpack BO3, like Black Ops 3 jetpack game mode.
Oh, that'd be cool.
There's endless possibilities for limited modes. So limited modes, streamer mode, public lobbies, a support a creator code,
Oh man, that'd be huge.
because not only would it help us financially as content creators, it would also bring some financial aid to EA. I mean, that's what they're in it for. So a
Right.
creator code to help us out, and obviously connect more with our community. And this is something recently that was brought up that I think was a really sick idea, and I wish it would happen, but it won't. There has been a tweet going around on Twitter recently where Luminosity Gaming had a reskin Wraith with
Yeah.
their game logo on it, and it was a sick image. It was beautiful, but unfortunately, those types of things will never be in the game. Like content creator weapon charms, like a Jenks, iLootGames, Staycation, SoaR Kobi weapon charm, skins based on organizations, like a SoaR weapon charm or a SoaR skin, TSM skin, NRG skin.
Yeah.
Those would bring, not only does it bring the org financial aid, but it would also, again, bring EA financial aid, which is what they're in it for. And it would help a lot more when it comes to the prize pools, which is obviously a huge reason why competitive is not where it should be today. And I guess we can kind of get in on that. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but um, as a talent manager, we had a SoaR competitive team. It was um, Mofers, IPN, and RPR. They played in Poland, and once their contract went up, we had to release them for the reason being, and I don't know if anybody out there has seen Snipe Down's video as well, but he pretty much nailed it on the dot. So you're looking at the ALGS first place prize pool. First place, you're looking at 7,200, split between three, and those tournaments happen maybe 2 times a month to 1 time a month. Excuse me. And so you split that between three players. You're looking at a little bit over $2,000 for first place. Now, if you're not a content creator, you don't stream, you don't do YouTube, it's your job to play competitive, and to win first place is going to be really tough, especially in a battle royale.
Right.
So you're putting your livelihood on the line for 7,200 split between three. And now when you think of it as an organization perspective, these people that are on the competitive team for these orgs are obviously getting salaried anywhere from $4,000 to up to 8 or 9 grand. Three competitive players, 4 to 9 grand, times that by three, it would not add up for the prize pools that you're receiving back. And obviously, the orgs don't take the money from competitions. No, they don't take Twitch earnings, YouTube earnings, nothing like that. Orgs do not do that. Orgs are there to build that fan base. And when they drop merch, the people that support the pro players in the comp scene, maybe they'll buy some merch or they'll do that, just support the org itself. But when you're spending 20 grand on three pro players to play in to play in these tourneys, there's just not the investment. That's why you've seen very big names in the community just vanish from the comp scene because they're not investing enough money. Snipe Down, like I said, made a video, and it was a super good video where he went in and talked about how if you were to win first place in the major tourney, you would have to play, I think it was 3 months, 152 total games. And if you won first place, you're looking at $71 a week or something like that with all the time you put in. So you can make that. I could make that working at Dollar Tree where I used to work as well, making $7.25 an hour and working like 10 hours a week. Like you can make that working at the worst job in your city. So it's not worth it for people who aren't doing content creation to play in these tournaments because you're wasting your time.
That's and do you think a strong, healthy tournament scene is a necessity to keep the game alive?
It's definitely good to have. What I think keeps any game alive is the casual players. And when I mean casuals, I mean you're going over to your friend's house and you guys are just playing games, maybe having a few drinks and just playing on a flat screen TV in your friend's room. That's what I mean, the casuals. As long as they're content, everyone can grow. But when they're making the public match with skill-based matchmaking being so heightened, people stop playing the game. It makes it tough for them to enjoy it, especially when all these other games that are out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox are having constant updates, and we're kind of just sitting in the same boat. It makes it really hard for casuals to continue playing the game.
Yeah. And so your thoughts on SBMM is obviously that it's turned too high. It should be removed completely, or what?
I think there should be skill-based matchmaking, yes, but to a certain extent, because again, there's two different perspectives from it. You have, the friend at your friend's house playing on a flat screen TV going against Daltouche. That's not fair.
Right.
But then there's also the people that see that. And I was just talking to Bryson Tiller, a huge artist that plays Apex, like huge, over millions of subs on YouTube. And he said the same thing. He was like, when he would die to a pro player or like a really good player on console back in the day, and then even on PC, that motivates him to get better. So it's kind of 50-50. There's some people that don't want to die to talented players every single game. Yeah. And there's also people that want to because that motivates them to get better at the game. So personally for me, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people could say the same, but there was nothing better than preseason, season 1 of Apex Legends. You would land in Skull Town, stream for hours, have a great time with you and your friends, just having such a phenomenal time playing Apex. And now I can't even touch the game for 2 hours without wanting to get off. And I'll never force myself to play the game. It's why I haven't streamed in a while. It's why my YouTube videos are getting a little, behind. But I would never force myself to put out content because you can just see it in the content, and it's very fake, and that's just not who I am. I would not force content or streams up just for the growth. I'd rather always keep it real.
Well, let me give you my opinion on SBMM so you can comment on it. So my thought is that the majority of the players are bad players, right? And it's important for them to enjoy the game. Now, if they're always getting destroyed, they're not going to enjoy the game. Respawn devs have said that this is a statistical fact that with SBMM, more players stay on, they continue to play. And, it's all about money, like you said. So they need those bad players to still enjoy the game. Now, the thing is that for people like you who are top players, when it comes to playing pubs where you think you're going to be able to relax, you all of a sudden can't relax because then you have nothing but very good players around you. And I completely understand that. Also, it's not really fair to you because then you're punished for being good. But then there's someone like me who I'm probably like a platinum diamond player. And when I happen to slide into the low levels of your games, so I'm going against, I'm going against the top players in all of my games. I see all the pros because I play on the West Coast, and I get destroyed by them. I'm nowhere near Predator level. If there's a Predator in one squad, they're going to wipe me and my entire squad. That's it. The people I play with were screwed. And so pubs are so unfun on PC, at least. I don't know what's like on console. Maybe there's a difference. But on PC, the pubs right now, how SBMM is that I believe that I'm in a group where I get punished quite a bit because I'm just barely good enough to get out of the lower SBMM rankings, and I'm punished because I'm stuck with you guys getting blown apart. But then you're punished because you're stuck with more of you guys. So it's just something that's like impossible to balance and figure out. But I understand what they're trying to do. You know?
Yeah, it's definitely it's a lose lose. I
Yeah.
mean, like people said, we have ranked. What's the point of skill based matchmaking? That's ranked 1 and then ranked 2. It's like, do I want to solo rank or do I want to
Mhm.
rank with friends? Like,
Yeah.
so it's definitely difficult, and especially when you think about all the player base dropping out, we're running into the same exact 90 people in queue every
Yeah.
time, and it's actually a thing. When Armed and Dangerous was a thing, there's about a 10-minute queue for that. There's about 5-minute queues for duos right now,
Yeah.
and there should never ever be queues for pubs. And that's the issue here, because when you think of it like this, put yourself into the perspective of a casual PC player. um you wake up in the morning, you have millions of games to choose from. You're really going to choose solo Apex Legends? No, no, like you're not going to do that. And that's why it's tough for us, because we're running into the same 80 people. Probably all 80 of them are streamers, and you're just going against each other over and over and over. And there's no progress there. You got ranked 1 and ranked 2, and you got hackers in ranked 2, and you got hackers in ranked 1, and it's a good time. It's a good time to be alive.
Yeah.
So when you said the console thing, that's why we kind of went back, because there's a lot more player base on console.
Yeah.
So these public matches aren't as bad as they are on PC. Now, of course, you have to readapt to the input delay, the bad frame rate, everything
Mhm.
like that. But if you play it for a week and you readapt, you have a lot more fun playing on console than PC.
Yeah.
And
And
that's facts.
yeah, and I'm hoping that the crossplay helps that. The only thing I'm afraid of is they're going to have opting out, and so then I don't know how much it'll help. Do you think that's coming?
Um, I think we're looking pretty good for cross-plat. Honestly, I think it's going to help a lot. I think it's going to make all the people that are playing, going back from PC and console back and forth and back and forth. I think it's going to make them happy, because we'll be able to just stay on PC. Because
Mhm.
I'll personally tell you, going back and forth will mess your shot up terribly. It
Yeah,
will make your shot so bad, and doing that constantly is just going to make you like such a worse player. And I was saying this to multiple people the other day. When I play games, it's like this: if you play Apex for a year and you go back to a different game with different sensitivity and a different play style, and you play it for 3 days, you pretty much just backtracked yourself 2 months of Apex Legends, because you're going to have
oh
to
yeah,
readapt to that. Your shot's going to be a little bit iffy for a little bit, and you have to readapt to it. So especially if you really want to grind Apex Legends, you love the game, just stick to Apex Legends, because if you switch to a different game with a different sensitivity, it's going to mess your shot up. And that's one of the key tips I try to give.
yeah. So when it comes to the current metas, what do you think about the metas? Does anyone need to be nerfed? Anything need to be buff? What are your opinions on that?
Personally, I hate the rev meta that we got going on. I know that some people in Tokyo were the first ones to discover it and kind of put it out on Reddit.
Hmm.
And after that, it kind of just blew up, because it's a good meta, but it's one of those metas that we're not used to yet. And they're really, really annoying to go against, because, I mean, you got Rev fully cranked, one of the best legends right now when it comes to winning consistent games, for the simple fact of there's so much third parties. I mean, if you put that totem down, you got the Rev Crypto Wraith. So you put a portal into the team that you want a third party. You put the Rev Vault on the other side of the port,
Yep.
like the safe side, and then you have your crypto go in, EMP, crypto gets out of the EMP. All three, take the totem, go through port. So their enemies are already third partied, probably trying to heal. All armor's taken off, and then it's a 75 health Rev Vault. So you have 3 players 75 health, and the other three 100. Say you knock 2, all 3 of you get sent back. You just take the portal again. Boom.
Yeah.
You can't lose. You cannot lose. So I mean, it's a awful meta. Awful. I am not a fan of it. Caustic, of course. I mean, shout out to the Caustic and Rev mains out there, but it's when you're an aggressive player, it's really, really hard to be aggressive when you got 17 fart traps in bunker and you're trying to move. It's not going to work out in your favor. So
But
I'm not a fan of the current meta. I'm also not a fan of the Watson Wraith path
okay,
or Watson Wraith Gibby
yeah.
because it's too slow.
Mm-hmm.
But this meta is still campy with a little bit more action, but a little bit more frustration when it comes to playing. But I mean, that's just what it is when it comes to meta. Now, weapon wise, we're definitely looking at Prowler, one of the top tier guns right now. It was slept on for a lot of seasons. Finally, now, it's the Prowler is one of the best guns in the game. A lot of people running it auto, a lot of people running a burst.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to see because it's been in the game for so long, hasn't really had too much talk about it, and it's easily one of the top tier guns that a lot of people like snipe down.
Yes.
He really makes sure that he uses what's in meta, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, all power to you. You're gonna have more of an advantage. So
Right.
yeah, it's a little bit more interesting. I like the Prowler. I like that it's kind of being in meta right now. Switches things up a little bit more. So.
Do you think
Yeah.
that now a big comment, a lot of things I was seeing about the Prowler was that controller burst Prowler is broken. What do you think about that? Obviously, because Snipe Down just murdered everyone with it, but there's there's got to be something else behind that because he himself was kind of saying that it's broken while he was using it in the last tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's could definitely use a little bit of a nerf. I mean, if you're accurate with a burst, you're close range, you hit fire those quick 2 bursts, the five bursts real quick. It's not going to take long, and I believe the max hit you can hit is like 150 with 1 burst. So you can hit like 7 bullets and manage to drop somebody stupid quick.
Yeah, that's insane. So, all right, well that when I was watching him play with that, and they racked up so many kills. I don't think it was this last one. I think it was the week before, and
Yep.
Snipe Down was just destroying people. Is there anything else that you would say about the meta or the game right now that I haven't brought up about things that you want to see different, or what are you expecting in season 6? I know you see leaks all over. You follow me, you follow, I'm sure, other leakers. What are your thoughts about the stuff that you think is coming? What do you want to come? Do you want a new gun? Is there anything like that, or do you want a legend? And if you do want a legend, what kind of legend do you want?
I'm pretty much a hardcore Lifeline Pathfinder fan. Even throw Wraith in there a little bit. I kind of hop around every legend. Um, I'm stoked for Olympus, as we all are. We know that's a thing. I remember seeing leaks about potential paintball limited game mode. I thought that seemed pretty cool. Obviously, the new legend that was leaked, it's not confirmed too much yet. We're looking at like a 35% chance.
Right.
But I don't know anything about her abilities. I know she came from Titanfall 2, but I didn't really play that, so I don't have too much knowledge about it. I'm pretty okay and satisfied with the legends. I would like to see a new, maybe submachine gun AR in the game. Kind of spice things up a little bit. I mean, we had back-to-back snipers that nobody really likes. Nobody likes the charge rifle, and let's be real, Sentinel's an extremely fun weapon in pubs, but you're never going to run that in an actual game where you're trying to win,
Yeah.
and you're going to play a little bit more aggressive. So, I mean, I would like to see a submachine gun AR, Season 6, Olympus. It's heard that it's supposed to be in the air, so I would like to see how that plays out. I think that could be really interesting, and I have high hopes for Season 6, as everybody does. We've been let down in the past with a few certain updates and stuff, but I have high hopes for this, and I think that, Season 6, this is, 30 days away. I think we're right on the right path for a good season.
All right, cool. Well, the last thing I want to do is that with the new podcast that I'm doing, I am going to be taking questions live on Twitch. So we have a few questions for you before I let you fall asleep, because I'm sure you're very tired.
I'm wide awake, but go ahead.
What do you think currently? Here's one of the questions we have. What do you think is the best loadout, and why?
See, that's an interesting question because your loadout is going to depend on your play style. Whether you're a more aggressive player, a more support, more defense player, it all depends. Now, if you're an aggressive player, you like running Pathfinder, all these like super aggressive, like I'm going to push you 24/7 type of loadout play styles, you're going to want to be looking at the R99, obviously one of the best weapons in the game, Wingman, Mastiff, Prowler. These are loadouts that you're going to be fighting close range. They're going to be super quick. If you're accurate, you're going to be able to drop at least one or two people as quick as you can. And, there's not much room for mistakes. But as long as you're accurate and you're playing buildings, you're playing situations right, those are the loadouts you're going to want to run when you're aggressive. And then you got the loadouts where you're a little bit more laid back, which I would probably recommend, that being G7 Scout, the Hemlock, even the 301 could be thrown in there. And I'd probably go with that. Yeah, Havoc used to be in there, but it got nerfed, and it's a little bit iffy of a gun to relearn its pattern. But even the Flatline, definitely like a G7 Scout 301 or G7 Scout Flatline. Stuff like that is the loadout you kind of want to run when you're being a little bit more laid back, because those are super, super good guns. And those are guns that are going to be able to put damage in while your aggressive teammate can push up with an R9, do 60 damage, get them out quickly. Mastiff, can hit for 104. Most likely he's going to hit for 13. Who knows?
Yes. And you know what? And this is something that I've been trying to practice with my squads. And so I'm curious to get your opinion on it. What I like to do is have like the person that's the biggest damage player play the aggressive, like the Wraith or even Mirage, someone that can get out of the fight but go in and do a lot of damage. And then if I'm going to play like, and this is kind of also how I control my aggression is like if I'm playing Lifeline or I'm playing maybe Caustic, then I'll pull out a 301. So then I don't have that mentality to rush in there with a 99. I know I can stay back and do damage. Is there thought on like the different legend you play, perhaps the different the gun loadout?
Absolutely. I will say this. One of my best friends, Dracarys, one of my favorite Gibraltars to ever play with. He will tell you this as well. When you're playing Gibraltar, you never, ever, ever want to run Wingman. And there's other certain guns that you don't want to run. There's certain legends where you have to run a certain gun, like loadout. So with Gibraltar, you kind of want to worry about using a 301, a Flatline, and especially a Mastiff in your bubble fights. That's one of the biggest things in comp and ranked and everything like that. You really want to practice your bubble fights. And that's one of my favorite things to practice in the firing range. You and a friend of yours go in the firing range, throw down the bubble, switch your legends, and then play Mastiff bubble fights. You can get really good at that, and I've seen it help me a lot in public games where I'm just having fun. We throw that bubble down, and you play the strafing of the bubble really smart, and always want to have that Mastiff, because if you have an R9, you're going to do like 33 damage, peek into the bubble again, do like another 23. Well, if you have a Mastiff, and you're accurate and practice it, you can hit 100 on your enemy and 2-pump them in a bubble fight and still have full health. So that, absolutely. You want to run different loadouts for certain legends. You can run whatever you want, but you're going to find more consistency with running certain stuff like that. Wraith, obviously, you want to have R9 Wing, Mastiff, close-up guns. Same with Pathfinder. You can get away with Path using a Scout and stuff, but absolutely. Certain legends should have certain weapons. You want to like kind of use those to your advantage. Yeah.
I feel like a Wraith should always be running an R99 or never touch an assault rifle. Never touch something that's going to slow you down, like a Wingman, an R99. And there's been some information that I've gotten that the Wingman ADS speed is going to be nerfed to where you're actually slower because of how powerful the Wingman is. So it would be interesting to see if that actually does come, because that would affect the pro scene quite a bit, because it's such a big use gun. The other question... Oh, go ahead. Oh,
I was just saying it was the best gun in the game. If you're accurate with it, 2-3 headshots, 2 headshots and a body shot, and you're just deleting somebody. It's happened multiple times.
And you can snipe with it. You can snipe with it. What other gun can you snipe with like that? Who is the hardest person you face in Apex? This is a question for both of us, so I'll go ahead and let you start.
Oh, that's a tricky question, because I like to say this a lot. Everybody's good in their own ways. There's not that one best Apex Legends player. There's always players that are good with movement. People that you get into a fight with, and they're going to be strafing around like a snake, and you're not going to be able to hit them. And then there's going to be the people that are really, really accurate and just play really smart position-wise. So I guess the most annoying people to fight, which of course, I have no hard feelings against them. I'm pretty cool with most people in the community. I would say would probably be EU Lyric. He's a player for E United. He has a really, really nasty, like flashy play style, which is really, really hard to hit. And also, I'm going to have to give it to Complexity Lou. A very, very tough player to fight when you get in certain situations.
And he's a Wraith main. Those are always someone who's so good with race movement. It's just so hard for me, at least, to compete against someone like that.
Once you get that strafe, you're not going to be able to one clip them.
Yes.
It's hard.
Oh my god, it's so hard.
Let's hear yours.
I've not played against a ton of pros. Obviously, it's just been pubs. But I think the one that haunted me because he plays the same server, and before he started playing ranked, was a prize or a prize. How do you say his name?
Mm-hmm.
He would be in every single game as me, and I would always be like, okay, I'm going to get this guy this time. I'm streaming, he's streaming. Obviously, he has a ton of viewers, but I'm just like, he can't win every single time, because there's so much randomness. No, I feel like he won every time I would run into him. So he would have to be the one that I just hated to play against. He's so slippery. That's the one thing about him, is he would just disappear so quick because his movement is so good.
Very slippery.
And let's see. One of the other questions. What do you think about, with the cross play and the cross save? I think the devs have come out and said that it's not coming. What do you know about that, or what do you think about it?
I'm assuming because it's EA, we're not going to have cross save, which is very unfortunate. I mean, I've probably spent over $2,000 on my PlayStation 4 account, and I don't touch it anymore, and I'm probably at about $750 on my PC account. So it's very unfortunate, especially for the people that aren't content creators and want to keep their skins and everything like that. It's very unfortunate. I don't think that we're going to be able to see that in the future, and it does suck, but I mean, it's EA. I hate to throw so much shade, but it's been facts for over 10 years. And, I'd rather be blunt about it than lie and be like, I'm hoping for the best. But realistically, we're probably not going to see that. So,
yeah. And I was told also that there's the whole reason that crossplay is taking so long is because of financial stuff and all the issues behind the scene. And so I can see this as just being like, okay, can we just get this at least, just to get it out the door, because everyone's waiting for it. They know the PC servers are dying. I believe they even said they're going to remove some PC servers, and their reasoning is so that they could improve the other ones. I think it's more like, no, so that you can have faster queues, because these queues suck right now. And
absolutely.
The other a good question here to ask you is, what is something that new players can do that are bad to get better?
My biggest tips are, if you're doing the whole ranked grind, then because that's one of the most frequent questions I get, ranked tips. Communication. I know you're probably solo, you don't have anyone to play with. Solo queue for a little bit, talk to your teammates, find some people that sound pretty cool that you feel like you could develop a nice team with. And communication for ranked, absolutely key. If you're not communicating, you're not going to win any games. You need to let your teammate know when that person's weak, or where you want to rotate to, or how you want to play. Communication's huge for gaining RP. For pubs, as someone who would like to get better, firing range is a good thing. I'm glad they added that. You could practice against your friends. You could practice against dummies, learn recoil patterns for your favorite weapons. That's another huge thing I'd always say. Run the same loadout. You always want to run the same loadout. I know sometimes RNG is not on your favor and it's hard to find those guns off spawn, but if you run the same consistent, 4 or 5 guns, you're going to begin to adapt to the recoil pattern. And that's why, if you've seen in multiple of my clips, I've had some clips where my R99 is shooting completely straight. And I've never used a strike pack, never used a mod. It's just I've been playing the game for a year and a half, so recoil pattern I know it more than the back of my hand. So it's recoil pattern, something you want to really practice. Fighting with stuff around you. You never want to fight in the open. I mean, that's pretty obvious, but a lot of people don't realize that. When you're fighting, say, from the other side of bunker over to salvage, that whole desert area, you never want to fight over there because it's out in the open. Multiple teams can see you. Multiple people can shoot at you. You don't have cover. Say you're a lifeline main, you don't have a escape. You really want to play buildings and rocks and trees and stuff around you that you can kind of bounce around and kind of finesse the enemies that are, playing you. So those are my main tips. Always work about movement and focus on the same loadout. Don't try to switch up your main gun too often.
Yeah, I think for me, I was completely uncomfortable with the PK and the wingman for the longest time, so I just forced myself to play it all the time. Every single game that I play, I'm looking for the wingman and the PK until it
Hmm.
became like my crutch. Like then I wanted the wingman and the PK every time because I got so comfortable with it. And
Yep.
then you start to understand like how pros can miss an entire clip of wingman and then they can hit an entire clip of wingman. Like you understand how that gun is works. You understand why people love it so much, whereas it's really intimidating to start with. You and I can understand how you love it so much that there's any kind of gun like that, guys, that are scaring you. Just force yourself to play it all the time. Like I said, use the same loadout until you're comfortable with it. People rely on these loadouts for a reason, and yeah, I think that will help you move forward also. And then if you're a PC player, in mouse and keyboard, there's obviously the aim trainers also that you can go check out.
Absolutely.
And lowering your sensitivity, I think, helps a lot. Is that a big thing on console also?
Yeah, higher sense will have that more flashy play, but less accuracy.
Mhm.
Lower sense will have more, straight up play. It's not going to be too flashy, but you're going to be more accurate. I mean, I ran 6.5 for the simple fact that I was able to wall jump, do 360s, and make it look super flashy for Twitter or anything like that, just to make you have that extra oomph in your gameplay.
Yeah.
And I recently dropped back down to 5.4. A lot of the controller players run 4.3, and the lower the sense, the more accurate you're going to be. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
On the other thing that someone asked is, well, this is just a very specific question. Will they change Mirage's class from Assault to Support? Because a lot of players rely on Mirage as a support character, and his abilities are completely supportive. A decoy can help a teammate flank an enemy, help them escape, and he is no longer Assault ever since they changed his ult. Now, I don't know if that's a question for me or you, but go ahead.
Yeah, I can see them changing that. Absolutely. Having a Mirage on your team is like having that Lifeline or a Gibraltar. For the
Mhm.
longest time, Lifeline was not the face of the combat medic. I mean, all over Apex Legends, they push her as if she's the best combat medic. But for a little bit there, Gibraltar was the best medic in the game.
Yeah.
And especially with this rework with Mirage recently, he's definitely one of the top 3 medics in the game. Especially you go in Viz, you have a gold bag.
Yeah.
You can't beat it. You can't. So
Yeah,
I would
he's
definitely see him as
completely
our support.
invisible. He's completely
Yep.
invisible, which is crazy. I've actually done it where kind of used it like the lifeline, the old lifeline res where she would pop it and then stop it and shoot and then pop it. I've done that where I would go invisible and then I would pop up and shoot and then I'd go invisible and then pop up. And it's so hard if they don't know where the down person is, like you're in smoke or something. It's pretty sad, but
Yep.
it works very well. Um, how can they bring someone back like ACU? That's a question we got.
Okay, so Asu was a content creator. He did play in a lot of tourneys, so he wasn't one of those people that were like reliant on tournaments to bring in that financial aid for his career. Bringing these people back, they would have to have really frequent updates because these are people that are playing the game 16 hours a day. You're gonna want to really focus on frequent updates, changing some things very frequently, and having some game modes to keep you preoccupied during the season. So having something in rotation that is always fresh will keep those creators like Asu and everybody else on the game. That's the main reason why they left. You're playing 16 hours a day. You're doing the same thing. There's no incentive to grind. There's no new badges.
Mhm.
You don't. There's nothing to gain from it. So, as well, I mean, yeah, obviously he was one of the most talented players in Apex Legends. Unfortunately, if you don't enjoy the game anymore, you're just not going to play it. So.
Yeah. And do you think that the fact that it is a battle royale in general is just maybe part of what turned him off, that he's so used to that 5v5 setup?
Um, Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that, started in CS:GO, um, all these 5v5, maybe Call of Duty S&D type gameplays where, it's really based on skill. And games like
Mhm.
that, you do have the best player. But in a battle royale, you kind of can't really choose anybody as the best player because you can die to a little Timothy with a Re 45 on 70 field of view, and you could also eliminate one of the best players in the game. Like, it's a battle royale. So I
Yeah.
definitely, I think that has a slight effect on it for sure.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all the questions that we have to cover. I appreciate you hanging out, Kobe. It went longer than I expected, so I apologize about taking up your time. But if there's anything else
You're
you want to
good.
share with these guys before we go, obviously you can shout out your social media or whatever. That will all be linked down below in the description of the video. So they will all be directed. Anything that you want to announce coming or anything you want to talk about with SoaR, maybe give people more insight on joining SoaR in the future or what you guys are looking for. Anything else you want to finish up, please go ahead.
Yeah, so pretty much all my socials, Twitter and Instagram, SoaR Kobi, YouTube, SoaR Kobi, Twitch is just Kobi, Kobi. And I upload pretty frequently, almost every day. Sometimes I'll do every other day. Streaming, it was frequent. I recently took a break due to mental health reasons, but um, yeah, for the people that don't know me, I'm a pretty chill guy. Um, I like to just make content where I'm having fun with friends. I don't like to be, the best. I don't ever think I'll be the best, and far from it. But I just try to make sure that everyone has a good time watching the videos, as every other content creator does. We really hope that we make your day better. We don't know what you guys are going through, and I know that a lot of people look at these videos as an escape from what they're going through personally. So, I mean, if there's anybody out there that's going through anything, we appreciate you for watching the videos. We really are glad that we can help you. And for SoaR, like I said earlier, and this isn't even just for SoaR, this is anything. If you're interested in content creation, if you're streaming to, one viewer every day, I want you to just be as consistent as possible. Be as consistent. Like never give up on your dream, because anybody can accomplish anything in life. It's all just up to perspective and time. So just keep at the grind, be yourself, but also try to do something different in the community. And I promise you'll see success happen a lot quicker. Um, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys, enjoyed the podcast. I hope you guys are still playing Apex Legends. Don't give up on it. We have a lot of faith here in the future. I do have merch out if you guys do want to check that out. It's on every one of my socials. It's going to be live until August 1st, and then we're shutting it down for a fall drop. And yeah, keep on playing Apex Legends. Shout out to you guys for watching the video. Shout out to everybody here in the Twitch stream. I do appreciate you as much as iLoot appreciate you guys as well. I'm glad to be here. And yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, no problem, man. I appreciate you coming on for the first episode. And that's going to be it from us, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I will be in Discord, and we can recap everything in Discord. Once again, thank you to Kobe, and until next week, take care, everyone.
Peace out.